Hi everybody, and welcome along to another Shearer Smokes. And today you find me just on the outskirts of Bridge of Allan. Now, Bridge of Allan is a small town just next to Stirling, and it dates back to the Iron Age, where records show there were maybe 7 communities living within this area, and they all lived within their own bubble, to use a modern day term, and little signs of interaction between communities. They seem to just go on and do their own thing. Now, as the centuries rolled on, Bridge of Allan itself started to grow, and in 1850 the town planners at the time decided they would make way for new housing. At that point it was still small cottages with straw thatched roofs, and as well as housing they would plan some green space for the townspeople and for visitors alike. And thankfully these spaces are still here today with us. Although the town itself has obviously grown, it still holds on to that character from that period of time, which is really nice. Now, Bridge of Allan became well known in the late 1800s as a spa town, and the waters of the River Allan became famous for its healing properties. Now, one notable visitor to the town was the writer and author Robert Louis Stevenson. Now, he came as a very young child, I think around about 2 years old, with his family, who would come and summer here in Bridge of Allan. And his love affair with Bridge of Allan grew from there, and he returned many times throughout his life. And the spot I've stopped here today for a smoke is quite an interesting local landmark, and here's how I came upon it. So yeah, it has a couple of names. It's known as the Stevenson Cave, but more famously known as the Ben Gunn Cave, as they say that this was the inspiration for Ben Gunn's cave in the book Treasure Island. And it's just it's a great feeling knowing that Robert Louis Stevenson walked the same path beside the river, spotted this cave, and had already been thinking about the storyline for Treasure Island, and this seemed just to inspire him further. There's also Bridge of Allan's mentioned in a couple of Stevenson's poems about his stay here, and in letters that he wrote to friends, mainly his cousin, about his time in Bridge of Allan. And as you walk through the town, there are a couple of plaques just commemorating his visits here. And there's a hotel on the high street that still stands under a different name, obviously. But that was where one of his lodgings were. At the time of it being a boom spa town, almost every second building in Bridge of Allan was a lodging house of some form or other. So it's just it's just a nice feeling sitting here with the cave just behind me. Just pondering as Robert Louis Stevenson would have walked these woods. Yeah, that's It's a nice thought. And it's a nice spot for a pipe. And the pipe in question is my cob, which came to me by way of Steve, Smoking Cardboard. So thanks again, Steve. As well as the tobacco that's inside the bowl. And today I chose the Peter Stokkebye Morning Blend, which was very apt as it's quite still mid-morning here. I'm finding this is the best time to come out as the sun starts to dip round about 2 o'clock, and slightly gets a bit chilly. But today it's quite mild. It's nice. So perfect for a little wander and a smoke. So the Peter Stokkebye Morning Blend, it's a ribbon cut Black Cavendish, Virginia's Burley, with what I believe is a bourbon topping. Not really picking that out as much. It's there in the background, I believe, but that nuttiness and the sweetness you would expect comes through. And yeah, it's a very pleasant smoke. I've had a couple of relights, mainly because I've been chatting and taking pictures. But yeah, it's a very pleasant smoke. One other notable visitor or visitors to British Fallon was in the 1960s. There was a museum built back in the 1800s, and it housed various forms of art and things. And it was also used in later years as a concert venue. And in 1963, the Beatles appeared here in Bridge of Fallon, which is quite amazing. Obviously, they were just starting out, and they were doing a sort of UK tour just to get their name out and about there. But yeah, it's another interesting fact of Bridge of Fallon. And of course, the other interesting fact is it's my hometown. Well, my town of birth. I wasn't born in the town itself. I've mentioned this before. I was actually born in the grounds of what's now the university, which is something I like to remind my daughter of, who's attending there every so often. But yeah, it's one of my favourite towns to come and visit. My plan is to walk a little further along by the river, then I'm going to double back into town. There's a small cafe in the high street which has pavement seating. So usually when I visit, I have a cigar there with my coffee, as it's got overhead heating, which is nice. And yeah, I'm going to double back there, and instead of a cigar, I've brought along my second pipe. I've brought along my Peterson System Standard, and the tobacco for that one, I'm going back to the Nutty Irishman, which I had, I think it was just last week. So looking forward to a bowl of that later on. But yeah, it's a nice quiet spot. I've only passed one dog walker, one jogger. So yeah, it's a nice quiet spot for a pipe. I need to apologise for the sound quality on my last video at the Mill Green. I didn't realise the river was as loud until I got home. So I'm hoping the noise of the Dollar Burn didn't distract you too much. It was running quite fast that day, as we'd had some rainfall the past couple of days, and of course it just gathers in the glen and then comes down at quite a rate. Yeah, that's a nice spot. So I hope you've all had a good week, and looking forward to the weekend. I'm back to work, back to the grindstone. So yeah, I'm making the most of today. So whatever you have planned for the weekend, I hope you all enjoy. And until the next time, as always, my name's Shearer. Enjoy your smokes.